Oh, hey everybody. Welcome to Do You Believe on Paranormal Zone TV. I want to thank you all so much for being here tonight. And for those who may be new to the show, if you would please subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And please don't forget to give the show a like. Well, guess what? We've got a great show tonight. I have Phil Saracusa and Julia Saracusa. I met Phil about 5 years ago. I've had several shows with him, and we did a really fun episodes, the Horsefly Chronicle episodes, and boy, that was a lot of fun. But tonight, what we're going to talk about is the unexplained curse of the Horsefly Chronicles. It's a demonic haunting, and it's based on a true story of Phil Saracusa. Phil Saracusa has two published books. They can be found on Amazon, and I will put those books up on the internet in a little bit. Now, Phil has a story that is just, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. And I'm going to bring them on. Oh, and okay, so here, let me bring them on. I'm going to put them on full screen here. Okay, so guys, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having us, Noreen.
Whoa, turn your volume down. Turn your
It's been 3 years in the making.
Hold on. Okay. Now, we're going to start the show, and I want you to tell the viewers the exciting news because I am so excited for you. I have been waiting for so long for somebody to appreciate and acknowledge your story, and I always said that it should have been on TV. So would you please tell,
Yes.
before we start your story, so tell the viewers.
So we're proud to announce that Horsefly Chronicles, we've lived this life a long time, way too long, still living it, but it will be a reality show. It's in the making. It's a lot of work, a lot of detail, but it's exciting. It's exciting news because, you know, when you're living the life and then you want to show the world. So the whole concept of a reality show with this family was the Italian wife cooking dinner, the husband that goes out to work, the children that go to school and come home, and everybody basically comes back home to the haunted house. So you try to live this normal life like everybody, every other American, the blue-collar people, yet you deal with everything and the home, and you really don't know what to expect in this house,
No.
So it's the element of the surprise. And I will say this, that there's been a lot of bumps in the road during
Yeah.
the filming process,
Which we expected.
during the people process of this whole making of what's going on here. When you're filming in a real haunted home, I gotta say that the spirits are just like us, right? If they want to antagonize and cause problems, they'll do it. They'll do it, and they've proven that. If they don't like somebody that's filming, they will cause a lot of issues in the home. But lo and behold, it's exciting news. There's a lot going on. So keep your eyes and ears open. We're very excited about it. And I will say this about reality. It's a lot of work. I have a lot of respect for people that do reality television because you think like it's so easy and it's the perfect life. It's not easy. I'd rather get a sledgehammer and break concrete all day. It's easy doing that than actual reality and redoing and redoing and redoing. It's really, really hard. But the good news is it's getting done. Film is not easy by any means.
No.
It's a lot of work, especially when you have kids and especially when you're living in this home. And I'm going to say this, a lot of the horror movies that were filmed, such as Amityville and other movies similar to that, they don't use the actual location.
Exactly.
Now we know why. Now we understand why they don't use it because the actual location will cause you a lot of different technical issues, people issues, and all that good stuff. So it's exciting. Also, this Saturday we have another TV show being filmed, Wrestling with Ghosts. Right?
Yeah.
Vinny,
Super excited.
Luke, a whole team coming down.
They are so funny.
They're funny.
And it's going to bring a different kind of, what's the word?
Different entertainment to the home
Entertainment.
because they are funny. They're big.
It's not entertainment, but they're going to bring a different environment
Yeah.
to this house.
You think they're gonna scare the ghost away?
Yeah,
I doubt it.
They're a lot of fun.
They're a lot of fun. So it's exciting, Noreen. You know, again, I reached out to you over 5 years ago to be on the show because I love the show that you do. I love that you talk about and help people and promote, and it caught my eye years ago, and I waited like 6 months to get on your show. And here we go, all these years later. Nevertheless, we did the horsefly experiments. We did multiple shows on this haunting with different people throughout the world. And I will say that, you know, this story, the Horsefly Chronicles, I've taken a lot of heat, and a lot of people said it's fake, it's not true, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Our claim was that, okay, you don't believe a word we're saying. I respect that. But let's bring the best people here. And to date, we have done that to prove the existence of paranormal activity, the supernatural, and some things, quite frankly, cannot be explained. Maybe one day science will bring a whole new perspective of paranormal. But for now, it's just what it is. It's paranormal. So thank you, Noreen.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Like I said, Phil, I've always loved your story, and I've always believed in you. And we've aired a lot of shows together. And I have, I think, 7 episodes left because of what had happened of the experiments. And I do have a playlist for that. Let me show the viewers this little trailer that Gwen Clapper put together. Now, Gwen is part of your team, Julia.
Part of Threefold Paranormal. She's our consultant, and she's amazing, and she's really good at what she does, and she put that together for us.
Yeah, let me play this little clip. I had to edit it down a little bit, and so let me play this for the viewers.
A family, a haunting, a home. For many, this would be considered, well, strange, unusual, insanity. For the Syracusas, it's life. It's controlled chaos. Welcome to their reality.
That was a nice little clip. Now, it showed the door. You must have had a cam there. Was it a 24-hour cam that you had there where she captured the door opening and closing? Opening?
Yeah, we shot that ourselves.
Yeah, that there's a lot to that. No, that wasn't Gwen. She wasn't here. We sent her that. That was a paranormal team, and we're going to talk about what actually happened that night.
Okay. So another thing before we start, for those who may be new to the show, Phil, they don't know your story. But before we do that, I want you to tell Phil, I want you to tell a little bit about yourself to the viewers, and also Juliet. So Phil, you start.
So my name is Philip Syracusa. Born and raised in Staten Island, born 1967. Basically about me is I'm a man who remembers a past life, remembers dying in a past life, remembers being pulled in to heaven, and explaining heaven in detail. Through heaven, I was told I had to leave. It sounds something that we don't even understand. It's not even written. I was pulled into the darkness of hell, and then I was born into the physical world. And people ask me, well, how would you know all this? And I didn't know it up until nightmares became night tremors in the 70s. And the older I became, I started to have this memory, and it's the memory of feeling, thought, of everything, of exactly how it started. So that's just a brief summary of me. And Julie?
My name is Julia Syracusa, and I also was raised in Staten Island, New York, and I was also raised in a haunted house. It was extremely, extremely hard on all of us kids. And, I met Phil in 1999, and we bought this house in 2010. That's basically it.
And we've been haunted ever since.
Yeah. But Julia, you're also an empath, you said.
Yes, I'm also an empath. That's correct.
And what is an empath?
Well, I'm able to sense when spirits are around me, and I can feed off their energies. I also could, I also can feel other people's emotions terribly. It does. It takes a toll. I always say I've been blocked for a very, very long time, and I always say, it could be a curse. It's a blessing and it's a curse at the same time.
Okay. All right. So now, this is the exciting part. Phil's story is, oh my God. Phil, I want you to start from the beginning, and I want you to tell the viewers your story, please.
Yes. So people that would question the existence of heaven and hell and demonic entities and spirits and reincarnation, I'm here to tell you that it's all true. It's not make-believe or a fantasy. It does happen. It is real. And some of us are messengers. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. I'm a messenger. And I realize that now at 52 years old. I remember in a past life, I was sitting around a campfire with Native American people, and there was an explosion to the left, and it took us out. We were all dead. After that explosion, I remember being pulled through this light, this amazing light, right into the most peaceful, beautiful scenery, and feeling of love and tranquility. People say, well, come on, heaven doesn't exist. No, it does exist. It does. And you'll know when you get there, because it's what we call home. It's an overwhelming feeling that I can remember. There's more colors, there's more energy. Everything in heaven's about 1,000 times more than what it really is here in the physical world. The spiritual realm of that is just simply amazing. And people say, well, what do you do in heaven? It's the purest natural form of us. What do we look like in heaven? We look like the perfect souls that we're supposed to look like. Because each time we're reincarnated, and I know this has a lot of confusion with, reincarnation and heaven, they don't mix the two, but the truth really is, each life cycle that we go through, we're building our souls. Our energy gets stronger. And heaven, again, I could spend hours and hours, but it's just the most perfect, beautiful thing that anyone could ever possibly imagine. Like I said, you'll know when you get there. Having said that, I was with an angelic being at this one part. We were in the fields, and the fields are just absolutely enormous, and so is the gardens. The gardens. And people say, well, do you speak verbally? Verbally, and it's a lot of mental telepathy, because you can feel the impressions of everything around you, of nature, of people. You can feel it. You understand everything. And that's one of the best parts about it, is it's like you know everything, and you feel everything around you. But this angelic being in the story of the Horsefly Chronicles knew I had to go, and we were being circled by something dark. And all I remember is I was pulled into complete blackness. I had lost all the love, all the purity. I was pulled into hate, screams, torture. And again, people will question, well, does hell really exist? It does. And, they're always looking for an opening for us. They know everything about us, demons, Satan, whoever you want to label, demonic entities. And people say, well, what is it like? They know your fears. And that's how the demons will show themselves, through any kind of fear that you have. They already know it. And they torture you. And what's the pain like in hell? It's like stepping in 3 feet of fire, being burnt, being pulled apart physically and spiritually, tormented, and screams over and over by the millions and millions of souls. It's all through mental telepathy. And in heaven and hell, there is no time. Time does not exist. We made up time. But what I did recognize is that some of these people, like myself, were not there anymore in hell. And that gave me a little bit of restored faith. And then there was a point where I was pulled into this crack of light. So it's like the inside of a volcano, and there's cubbies where we're put, and this crack of light came from like thousands and thousands of miles away. It's the best way I could describe it. It was this pinhole of light, and I was pulled into it very slowly, and then all of a sudden it took me, and I took back my consciousness. I felt love. I felt peace. And September 16, 1967, I was born into the physical world. Haven't remembered that. But entities were not far behind me.
How old were you at the time?
Messenger. And I remember that these evil entities, while I did not see what was being following me, I could feel their presence. And in the 70s, having nightmares, you don't tell your parents you're having a nightmare because you get a slap and get told go back to bed. But the nightmares became night tremors. And the difference is that I'd wake up with cold sweats, and I would see these images in front of me. These skeletons, these demonic-looking figures, these disabled-looking things, and it happened throughout the years. But again, trying to grow up and it's being dismissed by your parents, this is just a nightmare, nothing more. But I always felt like I was being watched. The older I became, I felt like the stronger these dark attachments have become. And to date, they do exist. So, and what they do is, they latch on, just like in an attachment that people have. The only difference is that they try to cause mayhem in your life and bring you down the wrong path, so to speak, not the right path of life. And it wasn't up until my teenage years when I had enough, and I had a group of friends. I got the Ouija board. We did it in my basement in Staten Island. And at first, nothing happened. Then we redid it. And I remember the plaquette with our fingers touching it very lightly. It was going counterclockwise, but very fast. And when that was happening, there was this negative energy oppression in the room that was building up. One of my friends had gotten very ill very quickly. We stopped. And as a teenager, I says to myself that this is all real. This is not make-believe. This is really happening. So before I go too far into more detail, I'll stop there to see if you have any questions.
Now, Phil, you said you were doing this in the basement when you were a teenager? You were doing this in the basement when you were a teenager?
Yes, at my parents' home in Staten Island.
At what point did you go to the cemetery? I thought you did the Ouija board at the cemetery.
I did that as well. And what was happening is this, Noreen. I was slowly being pulled into the world of darkness. And how that works is like this. They'll give you very simple answers, nothing to any kind of extreme, and you think it's all BS at one point, But what they do is they pull you in, and before I knew it, I was doing rituals. I was doing black magic.
When you were a teenager? You were doing this when you were... No. Oh, really? Oh, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were doing rituals.
Yes, I was testing the waters to see if it was real. And I remember my friend, his mom was a psychic in Staten Island. She used to help find missing kids. And I went to her one day and I was like, it's either I'm crazy or this is all real. And she goes, well, you just go ahead and sit in another part of the living room. And I went to go sit somewhere. She goes, don't sit there, there's somebody there. But there was nobody there.
Oh.
She actually sees the ghost, okay? So I sit in another part of the living room. And she does her own Ouija board. She goes, do not touch this. And she's doing it. And she goes, and all of a sudden, a spirit's coming through. And the spirit is my uncle, who had crossed over years prior. And she wouldn't have known that. She don't know me, just through her son. So it enlightened me, like, what I'm doing is real. The Ouija board, it's just a board. It's just a piece of plastic, but it's the intention behind it that we have that actually makes it work. And it does work, and it is real. And I slowly transcended into the world of darkness, doing things to see if my abilities with dark magic were real, or if it was just fake and coincidence.
But tell them about the mafia.
So,
that's my favorite. I've been waiting for that story.
I take a lot of heat for that story.
I love it. Tell it.
Yeah, I worked at a bar in Staten Island that was owned. One thing about New York and Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, it's 25% connected, period. That's just the way it was back in the day. I don't know about now, but back in the day. So I worked in a bar that was owned by an organized crime family. When you work for any kind of family, they have to know everything about you. Your family, you, everything. I was just a bouncer. I was like, what's with all the questions? And so we got to talk, and I said, what do you do? I like to work out, and one day I want to open up a fitness center, and I do a Ouija board, and I think I talk to spirits, and they look at me like I'm nuts, They look like you're crazy, but okay, So months went on. I'm working in the location, and then I remember seeing in the newspaper that this guy kills an FBI officer in Staten Island, and we just have to talk about it weeks later at the bar. And it just so happens that they were looking for this guy because if he was caught, he would take down a big portion of organized crime, and they had to find him. And I just said something stupid. I was like, you know what? We can give it a shot. I could do the Ouija board. One guy laughed at me and says, are you stupid or something? I was like, no, we can give it a shot. You never know, right? So we met up at a location, and there was like 4 wise guys there, and I says, don't be a favor, don't touch anything. Let me do this and see if it works, And I was asking for this specific guy because his name was there, and where is he? And I will tell you, this is interesting and yet scary. Is that about 5 or 6 people that have been whacked by this organized crime family came through on this board. I'm going to get you, so and so. I'm going to come after you,
Well,
and they're
Staten-
looking at me. They're looking at me like, you better not be making this stuff up. I'm like, I'm not making up anything.
Staten Island is one of the most hush
Yeah. So
for paranormal and organized crime.
they just coincidentally, they go, yeah, this guy's hiding out in Brooklyn. This is where he stays, yada, yada, yada. And it just so happened that it was right. And then, unfortunate, but they gave them what they wanted, and they killed him.
Oh, they did. Wow.
Yeah.
Was
They machine gunned him down in the streets.
was there something about a car accident?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that?
Again, so I can't, for my own, I can't give out names or anything, but I'm sure some people listening know who these people are and who was actually killed. There was another guy causing a lot of issues, came into the bar, a lot of problems. One thing about organized crime is that some families just do not get along with other families. They don't want them around. And, again, they knew everything about me. I can do rituals. I think it works. And obviously, maybe it was coincidence that they found this person. So, when you have an intention and an evil thought, because I was pulled into that world of darkness, it's no different than doing a voodoo doll, right? A voodoo doll is something that goes back so many thousands of years. Well, I had 2 Matchbox cars, and I made them crash, and I made one of the people in that car be the person they were looking for. And it happened.
Wow. That's insane.
And I'm going to say this. I know that a lot of people it's fake, there's no such thing. It's no different than a voodoo doll. And you know how, I'm not going to explain how this all works in one sense, because it's bad. But if you have enough intention and belief, you'd be surprised what you could do. And in the world of darkness, evil has no boundaries. And that's another thing that's very scary, is that there is no boundaries. And sometimes they listen. And in these cases, they listen.
There was an incident. I don't know if, I think we talked about this on one of the shows, but I don't know if you talk about it anymore, if you don't want me to even mention it. God, I'm afraid to say it, but something happened at a cemetery and something was taken.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So, again, this is the early 90s. Light darkness. I was pulled into darkness. I was doing all these rituals I was doing things for the mafia. I was doing things for myself, a couple of friends, and it's bad because slowly but surely, not every single thing works, but it does work. So something told me upstate New York. I was with my cousin, my youngest sister, and her ex-boyfriend, and I dug up a grave, and I went all the way, and I took something from that person that I was told to take through one of the entities on the Ouija board. Why, I don't know. We felt really bad, and it was silly of us,
You were young.
and we were young. But that's what, that's how evil works. That's what people need to understand, is that these are lower vibration entities. These are things that like to destroy mankind. They don't like us by any means. And they will use us as the vessels to do their work. And I can leave it like that. That's about all I can say on that.
Yeah, I know. Then we also did a show on the Book of Solomon. Do you have one of the original books of Solomon?
There was a place in Manhattan. It was called Magical Child on 21st Street, I believe, years ago. I don't know if it's still there. And I was so drawn into the world of darkness. There was a book behind this case, and it was locked up. And I remember going there for something else, some kind of incense and some kind of powders. But I was attracted to this book, and they wouldn't sell me the book. They refused because the book is a curse. It's a cursed book. It's how to really, really cast against everybody. All your rivals, everybody you don't like. And it's the work of King Solomon. But I got the book. And when I got the book, things got really evil at that point, because one example of what that book and how powerful it really is, and again, nothing works without the intention of a person, but I had a friend who really got messed over by his ex, really messed over. He was devastated because she took everything, and he's like, I want to get back at her.
Mm-hmm.
And I read these things through the book. It was the greater curse in that book. And lo and behold, a couple of days later, she got her face slashed open in a bar.
And we have to say that these
So
things
things are not
happen
good. Yeah,
when you were
I was young. It's
very,
not
very,
good.
very,
I
very
do
young.
not
We're
promote
talking like 30 years ago.
it's all bad. But I wasn't seeing the difference between light and dark at that point in my life. I was seeing complete dark, dark, dark,
Just
dark,
wanted to
dark, dark.
clarify that.
Yes.
Well, I've read that if you have this Book of Solomon, not to touch it, not to touch it, not to read it, not to do anything with it, and you have one of the originals.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's scary, Noreen. It's really scary. But I guess the best way, it's no different than a voodoo doll and a person who practices and is really good at something with a lot of intention. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is that's giving you the words to say and how to say it.
So you bought this. Okay, when you guys got married, were you living in another home before you bought this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Quite a few.
Were the other and so this all happened when you were teenagers. Then were the other houses?
No, I was in my 20s. I was
In your
my
20s.
So I met my wife. So,
Way after that.
one of the things about this entire story is that one of the most respected spirits, and her name is Sarah. And I have to bring her into this picture because in 1995, my oldest sister, me, my ex-girlfriend, we were doing the Ouija board in my mother's kitchen. I will never forget this. I didn't want to touch it. And a girl comes through and she goes, my name is Sarah, without me touching it. And when she did that, we didn't believe it. But she says, let me prove it to you. And she proved multiple things, how she was actually watching us. And lo and behold, she became a guide for me, her own spiritual advisor for myself. But she said, I'm here to stay, I'm not leaving.
And also for our family now.
And also for our family. In 1999, I remember being in this club, and the club was packed. And I was with my younger sister at the time, and I got pushed in the back, and I heard Sarah's voice say, that's her. And I bump into this girl, she spills her drink. And here she is 20 years later, my wife.
Oh, interesting. But did you have any issues in the other homes that you lived in?
We did.
Oh, you
Yes,
did.
So we had.
Never as bad as this house, but we're gifted. We have gifts. We're all lighthouses. Even my children. So we're always gonna attract whatever's there. So
Yeah, so one of the things that happened is that we had first, we met and then we rented an apartment in one location in Staten Island that was away from everything, and our relationship was going really good, and it was just a night where my sister said, I'll come over with my wife's friend, and they were like, oh, let's do the Ouija board, let's do the Ouija. I said, no, that's all behind me now, and of course I gave in, and we did the Ouija board and nothing happened, and I took out that book of King Solomon, and about 10 minutes later, it got very cold and eerie, and everybody didn't feel right, and they left. They wanted to go home. And then after that point, things got really, really bad in that apartment. So it's scary when you open up that door, and that's what they want you to do.
especially in a house that already has issues. So we have to put that out there.
Yeah,
Because that house had its own, paranormal things going on.
yeah. And once that happens, I'm talking about the house in Potterville.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was right across from another haunted location called the Kreischer Mansion on Arthur Kill Road in Staten Island. It was notorious for all these multiple hauntings, so it's kind of funny how that works out.
Oh my God. Excuse me. So when you moved into this house, why do you think the demonic hauntings increased and intensified? Why?
So to get to this point of this house, we lived in different locations. Life was good, working, had owned several fitness centers and all that stuff, and everything was going just the way it should in life. In fact, there were times we had absolutely zero paranormal activity. I put it all behind me, everything.
For years.
In 2009, there was not one ghost story in the location that we lived. It was a perfect life. We were doing really good. And then I had found this home on a real estate website, and then we got in touch with them, but it was under contract with another family. So we continued our search, and then a month later, I'm working in New Jersey. My wife got in touch with me and says, guess what? That house is out of contract. Let's go see it. And it's a beautiful home in an estate neighborhood, so looks can be deceiving. And we did just that, but little did we know that this home was calling us. We weren't looking for it.
I was so drawn to this house, and I can't even explain. It's such a weird feeling that you get. And of course, when you see a nice house, you're like, oh, it's so nice, and you love it, and you might want to move in. But it's different when you're drawn in a certain way. And, now I understand, but it was very, very strange. And I fought really hard to get this house. We had a lot of things go wrong.
We had a lot of issues, and I'm going to say that the good things, the good spirits would try to stop us
Yes.
from getting this home.
I believe that.
And I gave up at one point. I didn't even want the house because we're having problems with the real estate, the banks. I was done with the whole thing. I did not want the house. And my wife kept fighting for it. And lo and behold, we're here 10 years. And this home is like no other location I've investigated myself. And not because it's my home. It's what goes on in this house should not go on in the existence of mankind. I could say that.
It's a very different haunting. And
It's different.
a lot
It's
of
not your
people say-
typical ghost. It's nothing like that. It's so different. It's almost as if you are the ghost. That's how it plays you in this house.
We always say that we feel like we're in the movie The Others.
Yeah.
Oh God, really?
So,
But so when did all this start happening? So you move in, and then what happens?
So June of 2010, we're excited. I'm doing really good. We buy the house. I got the keys. We move in. The first 6 months are perfect. Perfect family, the perfect home, the perfect everything. After 6 months of living here, I remember one night in the living room, kids were arguing. There was a lot. I felt this tension, like there was really strong negative energy in the home. And I felt like it was this picture that I had. And I got the picture of my sons, and I broke it in the backyard in like a million pieces.
I was so
My
mad.
wife was mad. It was the picture.
Now, at that time, I was not feeling anything paranormal here, and I was just so mad about this picture. I'll never forget that. And he's outside with a hammer, and they're banging it, they're breaking it, and I'm like, I love that picture. And for some reason, maybe there's a reason why I was like, I just got so mad.
Yeah, and so what happens, Noreen, is that it's when it slowly pulls you in. At first, nothing happens, and it learns you. It learns us. It learns
Studying you.
It learns my family. And I would go to work. I lived far away from here. My wife would call me up. Kids are fighting. Well, I was like, what am I going to do? I got to come home, and I don't live. I don't work close.
Yeah.
And it wasn't up until my oldest son. He had a bedroom in the basement.
Oh, yeah. When we first bought the house, let's say it really quick, there's a little bedroom down here that we thought would be a nice bedroom for him. He was 11, and he was the oldest, and he was always getting sick on us. Constantly getting sick. And
But before he was getting sick, he used to tell me the toys are going off in the basement.
Mm.
And it was the last thing I wanted to hear is toys going off. I don't want to hear
we
this.
didn't want to hear that then.
I said, maybe it's the dog. Just leave me alone. I don't want to hear this. I invested a lot of money. Everything's going good. I don't want to hear about toys going off. But then he got sick.
That was different. Then when he started getting sick, we knew. Bill, you actually said,
Yeah, well,
out of the room.
then I remember Sarah telling me in my mind, now, Sarah, it's not audible. It's through mental telepathy. She goes, get him out of this room. And we made a room upstairs for him. And then
And-
months later, because he was in the hospital for a while,
What did they say he had?
pancreatitis.
At
Which-
11 years old.
Yeah, which is unheard of. It's not
Ooh.
possible.
The doctor said that this is unheard of. It's very, very rare.
I got him out, and then he started to get better.
Mm.
Slowly getting better. And then the room is, the room is now called a portal. It's dead bolted. It's a very dangerous room. And people say, well, spirits go through walls. Yes, they do. To date, I don't know why it's that one particular room that draws so much negative energy, but it does. And it does things that,
We should tell them a couple of things that people have told us
Yeah.
about that room.
again, I'm a person who's got a thick head. I really, as a New Yorker, I don't really believe myself half the time. That's why I wanted to have a paranormal team come here. And the first paranormal team come here, I was like, maybe it's the lighting, it's whatever, making shadows, and we're just overreacting on this whole thing. The first team comes in here. They do a complete investigation on the Saturday. One of the team members' eyes turn completely black. The other one is outside throwing up my front lawn. And I'm like, was everybody going nuts in my house? And they left. They did like a 3-4 hour investigation. They left. And long and behold, they sent me pictures that looked like demonic entities. I thought it was BS. I thought it was Matrix in, and I didn't buy into it. I really didn't. A month later, I contacted another paranormal team just to see what they would say, And they came here. It was a Saturday once again. They did an investigation. And walking through the kitchen, one of them claims that they got scratched on the ankle.
Mm.
And she's actually screaming. And then, long and behold, it was a lot of negative energy. Their equipment's going haywire. But I wasn't convinced, Noreen. I wasn't convinced of anything. I still had to have more people here to believe that this is really true. It is a haunting.
And I also
And people say, well, how do you label this as demonic? I didn't give it a label demonic. The first paranormal team, the second paranormal team, the third paranormal team. Is it spirits in disguise?
Is it
Who knows?
demonic?
I don't know everything about. There's no exact science to this. There is no expert. The pictures, the audio clips, and what has happened to people, it wouldn't seem like a spirit would do these things that are so malevolent against mankind. It just wouldn't seem that way.
Well, you've had some really reputable people, investigators coming to your home. You had Jeff Lepper, who was a deliverance minister and an exorcist who's been on TV many, many times. You had Sean Austin of Ghost Loop on the Travel Channel.
Yeah.
Scott Gerhardt, Dave Spinks, who has been featured on many TV shows, Travel Channel, Discovery, History Channel. And also, I remember we did a live show with Dave when he was investigating your home downstairs. Do you remember? And
Yes.
you were sitting on a chair, and I think Dave was talking to you, and you went into a trance. Do you remember that? Or you passed out. What, did you pass out?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I was in the portal in a chair. Dave was recording me, and he said to say this religious thing. And I repeated it, and all of a sudden, I wasn't me anymore. I felt like I was being held down, and
Which has
it just
happened.
takes you over really quick without you even realizing it's going to take you over. That's exactly what happened that night.
I want to show them the little clip. We had used this little clip in one of our shows that we did together, and this is the one that's in the basement. I think it's in the basement. It's on top of a.
Yes.
Okay.
A slot.
Oh, is that what it was? And you're with your older son downstairs?
I was with my 3 kids.
Oh, well, one was funny as heck.
And it was, in fact, that still gives me the creeps, because that was 2 days after I want to just tell you the listener what happened.
Okay.
We had a ministry come here in 2015, May of 2015. The next day was a Sunday. Everything was perfect in the home. The air was very light. My kids were playing toys. It was perfect. And then all of a sudden, Monday night rolls around, and the shadows started casting in. And what you're going to see with that little trailer thing is true. On cell phone, it was caught.
All right, so I'm going to play this clip. Let me get it. Okay, here we go. You won't be able to hear it, but you could watch it on your phone.
Please, spirits, can you play the piano or make the dinosaur go off or move a pool ball or flicker the light down?
Oh shit.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
People cross over and the spirits.
Oh. I don't think it likes that.
No, it does. So,
That's a good sound.
thank you so much.
It said bye.
I have a couple of.
No.
No, it's not.
Oh. We're listening.
Let me ask you a question. It seems like you're able to use things through electronics. Can you?
That's not good.
Oh my God. That was crazy.
It is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I can't watch it. It's scary. And it just shows me that.
Well,
It's
there
saying-
was no batteries in it, right? There was no batteries in it.
No, it's one of those toys.
It's one of those toys where you have to push the tail down. It's not light
Yeah.
activated. It's not motion activated. I have it locked up in the portal ever since. It's one of those things where it will work if you push the
Put
tail down really hard. It'll go off.
Oh,
Like one of
okay.
those toys, you have to hit the tail, and then they'll go off.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. So you move into the house, and it's to the point now. Well, you had investigators come into the house because the hauntings were getting worse, and now you call it demonic haunting. Why do you call it a demonic haunting?
Demonic haunting was labeled by the first paranormal team, the second paranormal team, because they feel like there's actual demons in the home. Demons. It sounds crazy, but do you see demons walking around the basement? No, But they're labeling it like that because of the growls, because of the whispers that turn into this.
Things that they've seen.
Yeah, very vocal, very bad mouths, in the sense that the things that they say, the pictures that have been caught, and what's happened to people. Noreen, I think that's one of the biggest things here is that what's actually happened to people in this home while they were
It has
investigating
a
it.
very horrible way of mind manipulation.
Well, that's why I said you are the ghost, right? In a sense where it makes you feel like I got you, you're the vessel, and I'm going to do what I want with you.
Yeah.
That's the type of haunting this is. No pitches fall off the walls. My walls don't bleed. It takes you over.
Yeah,
It
things
does-
don't get thrown across the room.
It
All
doesn't.
that
No,
stuff.
no.
be very strong.
You have to be
figure this
mentally,
out.
you have to be mentally strong to investigate this home. And what you will see is the shadows. You will see the shadows cast along the walls. And it scares everybody. It scares me because it's like, well, where are these shadows coming from? So, Noreen, we did a show 3 years ago. And after that, we had National Ghost Hunting Day here with Brian Cano. Now,
We were one of the
we were
command
one of the command centers, and I like skeptical people who try to look at the science point of things. And I remember talking to him, and
Well, tell them
he
who
felt
Brian
like
Cano is. Brian Cano was. Tell him who he is.
Haunted Collector
With
uh,
John Zaffis.
Yeah.
That TV show's on for a while. Great TV show. So National Ghost Hunting Day, I can tell you that if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. Talking about technical difficulties,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there's always internet problems. We get that. That's common, right? But what it would do, your phone would just die. That's it. It's over. Then it goes to the computer. Then it makes a person get really aggravated. And I know he was outside doing a Facebook Live, and his car alarm goes off by itself. So these things are like, let's play. You want to play, we're going to play, because you're on my domain.
Isn't there another spirit though from? Isn't it okay? I hope I'm not stepping out of bounds by saying this because I know we talked about this. Oh God! Just stop me if you don't want me to say it. The man from the grave, who wants the object back.
John.
Yeah,
Right.
John.
So there have been mediums that have been here that connected with him, and says that he was looking for something.
Again, we have to interrupt. This happened when? What year?
This was early '90s.
Early 90s.
Dude, I don't know if I would buy into it. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm still skeptical myself of, is it actually that person?
Well, when you guys do EVPs and stuff, he comes up.
He came up years ago.
I think Dave picked him up too when he was doing us. Dave Spinks picked them up too when he was at your house.
Yes. And is it him, or is it actually, the spirit pretending to be him is the question. Because they like to mimic. They are shapeshifters. So they know how to fool us, deceive us, and they know, like I said, remember I talked about hell, they know our fears, and that's how they represent themselves. Well, they know everything already.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They know everybody already. So they know how to play this game better than we do, better than we'll ever understand.
But this guy John, he wants what you have returned to him. So don't you think that it is possibly him that's causing a lot of issues at your home? Or followed you?
It's still to be determined. There's a possibility. It's still to be determined. That property was sold. That's been long gone.
I don't think it's just him, though. I mean, we've done so much research on this land. And,
Yeah. That's just one of the things where the grounds here are like an energy source where spirits can come through, whether they're good, whether they're malevolent, mostly malevolent. Where it's like a highway for them. This
that's
location.
exactly what they say.
Is
That's what they
anybody
say, though.
is anybody else in the neighborhood having the same issues?
No one really talks about it, but I think there's a lot of stuff going on. You have to understand, this is a very high. It's a very snobby neighborhood. Let's just put it that way. I think there's a lot of stuff that people just don't want to talk about. That's what I feel, and that is what many people have felt.
Yeah, so we don't knock on doors and say, "Hey, do you have a ghost in your house?" But I will tell you that
They know what we do, though. They know what
Yeah.
we do.
But the turnover, Noreen, in the neighborhood is crazy. No one lasts more than 3 years, 4 years.
It's
And the house is up for sale.
We've been one of
So the house to the left of me, to the right of me, they turned over multiple times in the past 10 years. Across the street from me, So, we had people research the land, and they said that, you know, the Iroquois Indians were here. They lost the battle. And there was a lot of bloodshed and mayhem within the whole Eastern Forks, Delaware. This was a lot of research that was done. A lot of research, months of research.
There's a lot of deaths.
So I think that
this
having
whole land and
yeah.
neighborhood.
Having said that, and then some of the occurrences that actually happened in this home tie in together. And it just happened that this home was built in a spot where it became the perfect storm for paranormal.
Wow.
Don't forget, you have the perfect family. The family who
Yeah.
we're all gifted in our own way.
Yeah, it's like when you're a lighthouse, when you kind of know, they know too. They always know. They know everything.
Okay, I'm gonna message. Hey, Cassandra, honey, she's my mod. You want to go ahead and start sending me questions in on Facebook? Thanks. So I have a picture here of one of the shadows. I mean, this thing is really scary. It has the chair, and then in the back, this scary looking with it looks like a witch, and with her hand on the hip. Do you know what picture I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
what is this all about?
That was caught. I think that was caught on.
Oh, I know. Is that what Vanessa was here?
No, that was around that time. That might have been caught on home surveillance, taking pictures, where that was caught. That thing, that reflection of that witch,
I remember that now.
and that witch elbow, Noreen. There was a picture caught in my backyard in 2016 by a paranormal team with that same figure, but very, very small with very light eyes. There it is. See?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're looking at it right now.
Oh, good.
And that's it. There you go.
I don't know what. I mean,
It's a witch, in plain English. They
It's
come
what
through
it looks
anything.
like.
And it's in a reflection of a mirror. And that something similar was caught in the backyard by a team, which I think I sent you as well.
Wow.
Now,
What?
Lorraine, I want to say this.
What?
I did my own research. You see the way the arm is bent with the
Yeah.
elbow?
Yeah.
Well, I did my own research, and I looked up, it's this thing called the rake, R-A-K-E.
Oh, yeah.
It's got the same elbow thing, if you take a look at what the rake looks like.
Wow. Hold on for a second, honey. That's crazy. I have seen another picture similar to that when I was at a extremely haunted location, and it was at a home, and in the doorway, and it resembles that, Phil. It resembles
Really?
that. Yes, it's scary as hell. Now there's another one that somebody captured, and it has horns, something in the background. It's kind of blurred. It'll be coming up. It's a 30-second delay, and it's kind of blurred. And then you has horns with a red arrow pointing to it. The picture is blurred.
Okay, yes, look, as soon as you pull it up, I'll
Yeah,
I'll send you multiple
Yeah,
pictures.
it's on. It's a 30-second delay. It probably came from maybe a video camera.
So no, it came from my cell phone. I had friends
Oh,
over.
okay.
We were having a party. And everybody started getting really agitated. And some just told me take pictures. And I took pictures. And you see how dark that thing is? The head of it? That's what it looks like, a head. That thing is evil. That's not a friendly spirit. That thing is the thing that is causing a lot of the problems around here.
Oh. Yeah, that's wow. So, okay, so when you
That thing,
what?
I'm sorry, that thing shapeshifts, by the way. For those that don't know what a shapeshifter is, it's something that can transform into almost anything. Anything it wants to be. It could be you. It could be me. It could be an animal. It could be anything. It has the capability of doing that. It showed us that through multiple pictures that we actually try to debunk. it tries to be a child. It tries to be anything that will get your attention.
Okay. What is so when you're filming for this show? Does anything happen while you're filming?
Yes. Um, it's everything that could go wrong does go wrong. You know, this picture, it's just you, your family, and there's a whole film crew. And they were recording me doing an interview, and I was upstairs in the dining room, and I got taken over. And they were asking me, well, who are you? And I got taken over. And I couldn't move out of the chair. I was just held down. And then the camera girl caught this thing behind me, floating in the air. It looks like a circle. It's floating. Because we went out to the back deck, and it followed us out there.
Wow.
And you're going to see that soon.
Wow.
So, Noreen, what
Yeah.
we're talking about really quick, so we're talking about energy, right?
Yeah.
This is energy. We're energy, spirits are energy, demons are energy. It's all energy related. And it's how it can transform itself. It follows, it waits, it watches for an opening. It always listens. And in a case like this of the Horsefly Chronicles, it will go after multiple people. You know, so what happened here during filming is, you know, you question, I warned everybody. I actually sat down with everybody, the whole crew, and I says, look, this is a real haunting. This is not something that is going to go easy. Trust me, I know from experience. We're in this thing so many years now, and so many teams later. And if it could drain the battery, it would. Immediately, once they come in this basement, within 10 minutes, the batteries are almost dead. Who's fighting? Who's arguing? Whose camera broke? Whose car don't start? Who gets into an accident? It goes after everybody, but it does it one at a time. One at a time. It picks out a person, and it goes after them. And that seems to be the rule of thumb since 2014, how this thing works. It's one at a time. It targets you, goes home with you, and really tries to mentally destroy you. And it takes really strong people to film here, investigate here,
and to live here.
and we make everybody sign a waiver. And I want to talk about this too.
Go ahead.
So you asked me about that door opening.
Yes.
And that door opening was a very, very bad night. It was a paranormal team, and I got to be careful of my words here. It was a paranormal team who was very skeptical of this case, and I wanted them to come here because they were skeptical. It was a paranormal team who is not shy to television, who's been out there. And the investigation at first was going okay, but I did a Facebook Live with each and every one of these people that came to my home. And they says that about a day or two later, they were visited by what they would call some kind of evil-looking figure in their house. Again, I thought it was psychosomatic, and you're just trying to feed into the story. But they looked with the look on their eyes, and it's on. I have this all recorded. Like, no, this thing followed us. So long and behold, I wanted to introduce them, and I did. They did the investigation, and in my living room, they were playing with a couple of these spiritual dolls to make them go off and all that, to see if it works, you know, all that stuff. And it did. So one of the biggest mistakes when you leave one person alone in this home is they're a target. And you get fooled and tricked. So we were all in the basement, and they left this one lady, investigator, upstairs. On home surveillance. This is a very sad story. On home surveillance, she disappears for 2 minutes. She's gone. And I didn't notice till about 2 days later when I'm going through my own surveillance. I have cameras everywhere. She's gone. Well, about a couple weeks later, I contacted the lead investigator for that night. I was like, I have something to tell you. It's a little weird that this girl, she just disappeared, and then she reappears 12 minutes later. Now, it says 12 minutes. He goes, I don't want to talk about it with an attitude. Okay. Long and behold, she's dead.
What? What do you mean she's dead? Wait a minute. She was at your house. She was on surveillance on a camera. Then she disappears. Did she leave your house physically?
She left the house fine.
And then she.
But I can't really get into it because there's a
She
lot
died
going on with this.
after-
She died
She died a while
after, like, a few weeks later.
Was she having any symptoms of anything?
The symptoms were, again, they were being followed by this thing. This thing knew they were going to come here. This thing knew they were going to provoke, in one sense, I guess. And this thing knows how to target one person at a time. And, you know, and I question whether the possibilities of this actually happening is just nearly coincidence, or is it actually that this person was a target? The fact, Noreen, that she was gone for 12 minutes
Oh my God.
is unheard of, and it's as if they already pulled her in, they brought it back, and that's all I can say.
Oh my God. What did she die from? Does anybody know?
With this case, we don't know.
We don't look.
for
We
sure.
there's no exact science. There's no
That's
perfect.
not what
Yeah,
you're saying.
we're just saying that it is what it is. There's that possibility that, you know.
Do you guys fear for your life in that house?
Well, here's the way this works. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
We've had Wiccan, we've had shaman. When the priest came, nothing happens. No bulbs blink, no shadows, nothing happens. We had a reverend and a deacon here, nothing happens. We had shaman here, nothing happens. When they're gone, it all happens. All the shadows come back. It's by the corner of the eye you see one shadow, two shadows, three shadows. And you think it's the sunlight, you think, well, there's no sun because it's dark in the basement, so where they're coming from? They're casting right through the walls, these things. Just as in the picture that you've seen. So we learn you have to accept it, because if you fight it, you're going to lose. Now look, spirits can be removed. I'm all for it. Every family wants to live a perfect life. No family wants to live with demonic entities, period. Right? But we learn that it will come after us, and everybody involved, and it has done and shown that it can do it, and it has no boundaries. At this point of the life of living here for 10 years, you realize that you're not going to fight this thing. And I hate to say it, but I don't believe anybody has a magic wand. This is real. This is not fake. And that's why I tell people, if you're going to come here, you're going to sign a waiver, and you have to make sure that you're in the field for a long time, because
Yeah.
this is not a friendly haunting.
I mean, and let's go back to other houses that cannot be removed from. Let's go back to the Conjuring house. Let's go back to a few of the houses that, you know, are known locations that you cannot get rid of these things. There's not, like you said, there's not a magic wand that just could.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, anybody
It's
says,
the land. It's this land, I believe, is tainted, and
Yeah.
it would be multiple exorcisms, and you're talking hundreds, and that might not even work.
yeah, I mean, that might
That's
even work, and
what
then
I
you're being
feel
tortured
anyway.
at the same time. Amityville Horror, do I believe that's still, you know, we interview people on our radio show. I believe it's still an active haunting. Do other families experience it? Probably not. You know why? Because it ain't the perfect storm. It takes the right people, the right synergy of energy for these things to activate. That's how this works. And, you know, all these locations where we all know these people, they're known, and they say, look, it's not gone. That's why we're having investigations going on. We tried. We've lost. It's very similar to
You
that.
Yeah.
have to
That-
always bring that point up.
Yeah.
That there are locations out there, very known locations, that you just can't get rid of these things.
Yeah, so what do? You kind of accept it, but don't challenge it.
No.
Because when you challenge it, all hell breaks loose on everybody.
Oh,
It
I
doesn't make
think
a difference where you live.
I think that people may experience paranormal things, activities, but if you don't believe in it, you're just gonna, push it off. You're not even gonna think anything of it. And I think whatever is causing that paranormal activity towards you or in your surrounding, if you don't give it any attention, I don't think it's going to mess with you. But if you believe in that paranormal and the activity that's happening, then I think it enhances because they know that you believe and you know that there's something happening. And that's probably what's going on with the Amityville house because other owners that have owned that house said the house isn't haunted
Yes.
because they probably don't believe.
Yes.
Or it can affect you in a different way. Like, let's talk about the people who own this house before we bought it.
Yeah, so before we bought the home, I remember being at the closing. They were the most miserable people on earth.
Horrible.
Horrible.
For no
They didn't even look
reason.
at us, and I didn't understand it. They were broke.
Throughout
They
the
were
whole
miserable. I think I get it now. I think that now we understand it. That they probably didn't even talk about a ghost,
They
but
probably didn't know.
they
Yeah.
were being affected because they were so miserable that it was draining them. They couldn't wait to get out of this house.
Oh,
Let's put it that way.
wow.
In fact, the closing check 3 weeks later came here that belonged to them. I tried to reach out. They would not accept my phone calls. Nothing.
So
Nothing. They deaded this house. Goodbye. We are done.
Yeah.
So we're the third owners. And I think that you're right, Noreen. If you don't give it any attention, but yet, if you don't give it attention, it gets you in a different way.
It gets you in a different way. And
Where it doesn't have to be, I'm going to see a ghost, right? Like
Yeah.
Amityville, the other homeowners, there's nothing here. There's no such thing. No, there is a such thing. And yes, there is something there. It's just not good. It doesn't care.
Exactly.
It does not care to show itself, but it might get you. You know, some of the things that we're learning through having people on the shows that we do, we ask them questions like, what do you think these things want from us or anybody else, right? We're like an energy source for these spirits. Well, they use us as the battery, for example, and they take until they can't take no more.
Now Jeff Leeper, he's a deliverance minister. Did he anything happen to him since he's like a holy man, and did he bring any holy water and crosses into the house?
So yes, in 2015, it was him, his sister Melissa Leeper. There were a couple of other people in the home. We were in the basement, and we were just talking about what was going on here because we were just still trying to understand this. And something came right down those stairs, and it affected all of us. And he was like at a still. I was at a still. I was very evil. The person to the left of me was very evil. Out of nowhere, we were getting taken over. And then another person came and had to break the whole thing up. We had to leave the basement. And that's how quick it happens. So, can you remove it?
We don't believe so, but we don't, like, we're not God. I mean,
We're not.
we're not.
After 50 paranormal teams, multiple psychics, mediums, remote viewers from around the world, the Horsefly Chronicles experiments that we did on a 6-month basis with your show, trying to prove the existence of the afterlife and things that come through here. Is it possible that there's these things that could actually happen? The answer is yes. And it just so happens that some of the people that do come here claim that this house is just a big battery for these things. And it's able to do the craziest things because it's a battery.
You're talking about elementals, too.
Elementals, time lapses,
So many different
loss of
things.
memory.
There's so much going on here that it's crazy.
Yeah, and you don't know until you actually get here. Now, again, we had someone here filming about a month ago who was an atheist, doesn't believe in anything.
Oh, yeah.
They were a film person, and we respect that. I like that in one sense because you know what? You don't believe in anything, and that's good. And I'll never forget, he walks in through the garage,
It was crazy.
and he goes, there's something that right here. And this is an atheist, a film person, right? His job is just to film.
Guy.
And he says the energy is not right in this house. Something is off. Then we go upstairs, and he gets thrown off like his equilibrium balance is thrown off.
Wow.
And I'm like, there it is. You see? You could not even believe in anything. Hell, heaven, God, the demons. But you're still feeling what we feel here. So there it is.
Wow.
And you know,
He was like the proof.
you can't. And I like that, but there it is, right there.
So what about the kids? Are they affected?
Everybody's affected.
Yeah.
Everybody in in their own way is affected. If you leave it alone, you don't antagonize, and you try to live the best that you could do, you know, there's no answers. I don't have what tomorrow can bring for us. You know, my youngest son, he had his own bedroom. He don't sleep in there anymore. As of the last few years, something slapped him in the face in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh.
Slapped him in his face.
He's 9
So then-
now.
Then, over the last 6 months, we've had about 20 different mediums here, some private, some in the public. And we bring them in that room, like, I don't want to stay in this room. It's not good. It's just a very bad room. It's the other side of the home. It's got nothing to do with the basement.
Oh, wow.
So whatever's room has taken that room over.
And we just let them have it.
So let them have it. It's an empty room.
We
That's
lock
it.
the door and just let them basically have it.
So this the TV it's going to be on television. Your series it's a series on TV.
Yeah, so Life with the Syracuses will be an actual reality show. There's a lot of obstacles that did happen. There's a lot of change of everything, so it's going to be later rather than sooner. It's not easy getting through this. That's what it comes down to. It's not like you come here, you film, you leave, we're done, then the next day you do another segment. It goes after everybody. So then they change people, and people fight and argue, and it's
we're going
caused
to be honest. I mean, that's
it's just
exactly.
caused a whirlwind of issues for everybody, for every
And
one
we
of
knew
us.
this going in.
We know it, and I says to my wife, it's a shot in the dark that this is going to work. But it's going to work. It's just getting through the hurdle of doing this.
Yeah.
But it'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. It'll be sad. It'll be mysterious, and it'll be a family living a life.
And the reason why we're saying a reality show is because it's never done before. I mean, we put the whole paranormal aside. We are a little nuts. Like, I have 4 boys. I have my granddaughter. We're loud. We're Italian. It's just like before I had to run upstairs and yell at them all because
Yeah, that's why she left for a
Oh.
couple minutes on the screen.
But I mean, it's just, you know, it's that crazy Italian family.
Right.
That's who we are. That's how we were raised, and so it's got the combination of everything. And it's true. The haunting is true. You have the kids, the house, and you know how everyone reacts. And it's
So when anything happened, are they doing severe or severe editing on the show, or when things happen they're just going to leave it in?
they're leaving it in, and I'm sure they'll edit some. I mean, they're going to edit us out a lot because we're always cursing.
Yeah,
and
like
yelling.
there's a lot of vocal.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see it.
My wife's trying to make meatballs and sauce, and who's fighting, who's arguing, who's
Well,
fist
I
fighting.
mean, you watch-
There's so much going on.
you watch
Then it shuts the
reality-
cameras off.
You-
On top of everything, then the people actually filming getting
I mean,
frustrated.
if anyone watches reality on TV, let's get real. Bravo. I mean, you see New Jersey Housewives and the way that they act. I mean, this is how we are. This is how we live. This is how we've always been. So you put that in with this haunting. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to
Yeah.
say.
Well, you're my kind of
The
people.
one thing I can teach people, I want to tell everybody this. The one thing I can teach people is this. We had Christopher Moon and Denise Garcia here,
Yes.
and they're really respected, and they do their work, and they have their equipment. But what I did notice is that there were a lot of crystals, and they weren't that affected in the
They really
home.
weren't. I have
So-
to say, they were one of the 2 people that ever have been here that were not affected as much.
Yeah, and
At least of our knowledge.
And it seems like what the understanding is that the crystals absorb a lot of the negative influences around before it actually gets to the person. So a good idea is I might have to put a big crystal around the home.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Now, are you finished with the series? How many shows did they do?
We did 6 episodes, 2 of which have turned to garbage because it doesn't film right. And that's what I said. I'd rather have a sledgehammer and break concrete all day than do reality because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. And to get things right in this home, you know, I gotta be honest with you. I gave up a few times. I'm like, we can't film here. We're done. We can't film. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But my wife is a fighter. Like, it takes a whole shift of different people. It'll work. It's just going to be a very, very difficult task to get through this whole thing. But
And
once it's out, everybody will enjoy it.
will it be considered a paranormal show, or a reality show?
Reality
Okay.
show.
Reality.
It's a family living in a haunted home.
Oh, now, are you going to be doing like any paranormal investigating during the filming? Do you do
Oh,
any of
yeah.
that?
Well, yeah, but the show's not mainly about paranormal investigating. We're going to have some of that. But it's trying to live a normal life. Going around, like I said, the Italian wife making the meatballs and all that stuff at a Sunday dinner. Having some friends over and how we live and how we go about doing different things. And it goes there, and then it goes into how we go to bed at night, every one of us with one eye open, because it's really hard to sleep in the home with the whispers, with the voices, with things moving around.
Let's just say that there's about 9 TVs on all night long.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that sleep with a TV, but we got TVs, we got fans. I mean, my 15-year-old has 2 TVs in his room and a fan on all night. And you just get to the point where you don't want to argue anymore, you just want to sleep. Like, we're not young anymore. I hate to say that.
Yeah. We're getting old now.
And, my son is 9 and a half, and I'm just like, you want to sleep with me, kid? Let's
Yeah, we had to put another bed
bring
in
your
our
bed in
bedroom.
here and let's go. Because
So the film crew thinks it's
this
funny,
chick
but
has to sleep.
yeah, it's funny, but it's true. This is how we live. It's a haunted home on steroids.
And you have a lot of family and friends that say, how do you let your son sleep in your... Well, because I need sleep. And I don't want to hear him crying all night long.
Oh. Are you?
So I want to talk about this one episode.
Yeah.
One of the things that were happening here is that they were filming in the portal, and they're not part of this anymore because bad things have happened, but they claimed that something very big was crawling up the walls, like something with arms and legs.
Oh my God.
And they ran out of the room.
Oh no. Was this part of the film crew?
It was.
Oh, they left?
That's it. It's it's over. That part's over. I didn't see it. I hope I never do see what they're talking about, but I could just imagine. I see everything else, the shadows and all that, so I could just imagine what these things could actually do.
Oh my God. They filmed that? Or did they see it in their own eyes? But did they film it at the same time?
They seen it. It didn't catch on camera.
Oh my God. And you haven't seen them since.
You can't make stuff up.
I
You
know.
really can't make it up.
That's crazy.
If anyone knows us and that has been here, they know that it's the truth, and you can't make it up.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, you guys want to take some questions?
Yeah,
Sure.
but I will say this before we take the questions.
Yeah.
I brainstorm, and that was to bring in a private paranormal investigator who's been around
Someone that's
since the late
not on
60s.
social media.
He is absolutely not on social media, refuses anything. He only wants the hardcore cases. It was a referral, and that's the only way the man works. He doesn't even want his name out there and talked about. But I felt like it was a good thing. And this way there's no drama, and there's no yay, nay, and who believes what, and all that stuff. And what he's caught here is voices from the other side. And in the voices, there's these conversations going on where we've learned that there was a farmhouse not too far from here. And in the farmhouse, it was a husband, a wife, and 2 children. And the husband was abusive, and the children died. Whether he killed them or not, we don't know. And it seems to be that these are the children, 2 of the children that are here in this home. And it's not through any kind of spirit box. This is a real tape recorder. These are the voices that you only hear if you speak to this tape recorder. And it gives you the goosebumps. I was told I cannot release anything, but maybe one day I will. It's the real deal. It's what you hear, and it's very faint, it's very light, and you hear them talking. So then what he did was he felt like this was an overwhelming case, and he brought this lady in from Brooklyn who is a shaman. Now, the lady, for the last 10 years of her life, she has worked in hospice, and she understands the whole transition of life to death. So she comes here into the basement, she's sitting with him, he's doing the recording, and she's asking the children to leave. Well, one of the pictures I was allowed to take, and I put on my Facebook back in July, was there are about 5 K2 meters lined up from the back wall where she claims they're coming from to the table that Julie and I are sitting now. And every single K2 meter at the same exact time went off, and then she asked them to leave, and then simultaneously went from the table, K2 meter, all the way down to the wall in a chain, and they were gone. Well, lo and behold, he came here a week later to make sure that the house was clear, only to hear the voices reoccurring again in the home. So whatever is here, and I respect that she came all the way from Brooklyn to do this, it just shows me that there's so much deception and trickery going on here that it's as if it'll agree with you, it'll hide when the priest comes, but it'll come back when the coast is clear.
Oh my
The
God.
aftermath is, we're paying the price for that.
Yeah. So yes, now we could take questions.
Okay. Hold on, let me get them. Let me put you on full screen. All right. From Sandra Miller, question. Did they find out if the demons and Sarah are different entities?
Good question. There's still no answer on that. That is a very good question. But we don't have an answer.
All right. From Chippa Terry. When and where can we watch your new show?
It's probably going to be, it was supposed to be in 2020. It'll probably be 2021. And they will announce it. The actual network will announce it when that time comes. We're not allowed to say anything.
Yeah, we've already done too
We've already
much.
done too much.
We weren't supposed to do anything of what we've done.
The show is, so this has already been a signed deal. It's a done deal that it's on TV. You don't have to submit a reel or anything like that. It's a done
Everything's
deal.
moving forward, just the way it's as planned, as long as the film works out as planned. So we're good to go.
Are you allowed to still have paranormal people come in and investigate your house? Or do you have to
Yes.
sign a waiver? Oh, yeah, it's okay? They don't mind. Okay. All right.
In fact, this Saturday
Well,
we're
I'm
going
sure
to have.
of that.
Yeah. In fact, this Saturday we're having Wrestling with Ghost. You can look them up. They'll be filming here. It's exciting. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. I want to see how this plays out with the big wrestlers and the ghost here.
Different. It's going to be very different.
Oh, that is different. All right, from Callie Colbert. Do objects disappear and reappear in your home?
Yes. Yes, they do. It causes a lot of problems, too, especially with the kids.
Like
It
what
likes keys, like a
jewelry?
everyone.
Keys, toys, Xbox games.
Jewelry? Any jewelry? Hide rings or anything?
What's that?
Do
What'd
they,
you ask us?
do they hide jewelry?
You have a ring?
They've actually, I have things gone missing that I've
No, you
never.
have a wedding ring?
Yeah. Oh, the wedding
The
ring.
wedding ring. It's funny that you asked that. About 3 weeks ago, I had my wedding ring. I have to get it resized. So I had it in my closet, and then with the kitchen table.
was it
And
on
my
the
wife walks
table?
over, and it's on the table.
Yeah, I was like, no, somebody's telling you something.
That's
It's
typical.
good stuff.
Yeah, that is typical. From Sandra, let's see. Okay, Lori Miller. If many things consistently go wrong, is it a sign of demonic involvement? Like I was just writing this question and my phone shut off.
Well, not everything is demonic.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't have all those answers, but there's a possibility that we know this thing can go anywhere at any time, so there is a possibility, but there's no straight answer.
All right. From Sandra Miller. Has the activity gotten worse since you were here before? Meaning on the show.
since we've been doing the show.
Yeah.
In
Phil.
different ways, it gets in different ways.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's like as if they're here and they watch and they're observant, but they want to cause problems that they would have caused if we weren't doing shows.
Fairy Queen had asked this question, but you already answered it, Phil. The question was, when can we expect to see the TV show? All right, from
Yes.
Tigger Jan, do you think all the investigation may be making activity worse?
You know, that is a tough one, because when I go back to the beginning of my story when we first moved here, I didn't want to hear about ghosts, none of that stuff, right? And it was already doing its work. There was a time we didn't want to talk about this again back in 2016 for like a little bit. We dropped everything, no investigations, no nothing. It still happens. So does it make a difference? I don't know. It just, when you investigate, it does different things than if you don't investigate, it's going to do something else, period.
Okay, from X Hypnosis, is there any objects that this entity is attached to?
We definitely have what we believe to be haunted objects in the house, right?
Yes.
We have the toy that we talked about. We have that machine. What is that?
The slot machine.
The slot machine. We believe to be.
Yeah, so we have it locked up in a room, which is called a portal. And, again, a lot of people question whether this is real. There's a live cam around the world. This is one of the 7 locations to be the most haunted that they claim. There's a 24-hour live cam. If you type in Spirit Realm Network, you go under the static cams, and you see Horsefly Chronicles, a picture of the home. You can watch the room all
24
day,
hours.
24 hours, and you will see things that we're talking
But if
about.
you hear the kids screaming, please excuse
Yeah, if
them.
you hear, that's normal.
Oh my goodness.
But if you see things, which have been actually, Gwen
Yeah, I was
Clapper
going to say that.
caught something and she put it on my Facebook.
Mhm.
She took a snapshot of it. So that's why they want to do it. Look, it's real. You explain it. I can't.
And if you guys, that's a good point. Definitely watch that static cam.
Yeah.
It's 24 hours, and there's always something going on in there.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you had a 24-hour cam.
Oh yeah, it's on Spirit Realm Network.
Yeah, we've posted it on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Numerous times.
They reached out to me about a year ago, and it's been an adventure with that. I will say that.
Hey, send me that link, and I'll put it at the end of the video. So when they come to this video, I have all your bios under there, and I put the link to your Amazon for your books, and I'll put the link to the 24-hour webcam too. One last question: do you have any animals?
Yeah.
Okay, so Fairy Queen wants to know: do the spirits bother the animals?
One. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it does. What happens?
Well,
Really don't want to talk about
it's
it.
a little touching.
You told me not to talk
I
about
told my wife before the show. Let's just put it this way: it's on its way out.
Oh no! Really? Oh.
Yeah. So
I
we had
She's only 4 years old.
In fact, when we had
Oh.
Christopher Moon here, we asked him to, touch the dog
yeah.
and see if it was an attachment, and the answer was yes, multiple.
Oh, how sad! And yeah, I know. That
Yourself.
does.
You have a lot of guilt for that. You blame yourself, and I will never have another animal in this house ever. Whether it's any type of animal, a rabbit, anything,
Yeah.
bird, anything. There will be no more animals in this home.
Yeah, no,
Ever.
I've heard of this happen. It does happen. I know that for a fact.
You have to think about it. The animal is there to protect you, and especially this dog. She's a pit bull. It's her whole life is to protect her family. So what are they going to go after? They're going to go after the animal.
Yeah. Another question. I'm sorry, really sorry about that, guys. From I am Alpha. Is your house near a cemetery?
We're not far. Well,
No, I'm not close.
we're
Nothing
not
to
close.
be
We're
considered.
not that far though.
but nothing within blocks.
No.
This
Okay.
was a farmland. This was all Eula's farm back in the day. It was just one big farmland. That's all it was. And to the listener, you know, it's not the oldest, most creepy-looking homes that are really infested with ghosts. It could be new construction. If this home was not here and they put up condos, it's still going to be what it is because it's built on the land that's already tainted.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, one last question from Robert Hanna. What is it like sleeping in that house with all the activity?
You're on pins and needles.
Yeah.
It's the element of surprise that could take you over in this house. You know, most of the time nothing will probably happen, but you don't know. It's that one occurrence. If you're upstairs and then you want to walk down in the middle of the night, I hear conversations going on and there's nobody there.
I don't do that. I don't walk around in the middle of the night ever, unless it has to be an emergency.
Oh gosh. All right, let's see. So, viewers, these are the books that Phil has written: Horsefly Chronicles, The Demonic Haunting, and The Curse of the Horsefly Chronicles, A Demonic Haunting. So these books can be purchased on Amazon.com, and I do have the link to that site on Amazon on the underneath the video. Let's see. Well, I guess that's it, guys. I'm really excited for you. I'm so excited that somebody finally is getting your story out there to the public. That not just me and my viewers and other people that have had you on their show, but to the world, basically. I'm really, really happy. I mean, it's about time. You've got to.
You know, it's always been something that we've been working on, and it's always been like you said, it stops it in its tracks. So
Yeah, and finally, things are starting to surface through. We're excited because, you know, a lot of people are going to watch the show and say it's all make-believe. But I get that because I'd probably say the same thing, you know. And that's why we've had most reputable people here, whether it's a team or medium, psychics, and we will continue to bring the best of knowledge to the world. But I can tell everyone this, that it does exist. It is not fake. It is not make-believe. And you have to tread lightly. Some of these shows that I do see on television, I roll my eyes because they're saying some things that will not get them on TV, but they'll go home with them. And it could be a year, 2, 3 years later where things do happen. And and you know, in the paranormal community, unfortunately, there's a lot of sick people, a lot of disabled people, and you got to be careful. You have to be. It could be exciting to investigate, and we all do it. But we don't know what we're walking into. You just don't know that dark room, what location it's going to be around the world that could be your last location, because this thing can actually destroy you. You may not see it coming, but it can get you. So you got to be careful and do not provoke anything. Respect the spiritual world as if you respect anybody else in your family. Because if you don't, then you're stepping on glass.
Yeah. Thanks, Julia. You sent me the link to this. This is where you can find the 24-hour cam. It's called Spirit Realm Network. And again, I will put the link underneath the video for you guys to watch that. My God, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your story again. You know I love you guys. I support you. And anytime you want to come back on the show, if you want to, after all this is all over with and you want to present your evidence and your videos and your EVPs, I mean, the viewers would love to hear and watch them. Okay?
Most definitely, Noreen. Noreen, you have a great show. You're very well respected. I've been following you, listening to you a long time. That's why I asked to be on your show. Again, we will definitely do a follow-up. And for the non-believer or the person that questions, again, these things are real. This is one of the most investigated locations around the world to date, the way it just keeps going. But we're only bringing in the people who have been in the field a long time.
Absolutely.
Not nothing else. So thank you so much, Noreen.
Thank you.
And we look forward to speaking to you.
Thank you so much, and good luck to you. And don't forget to send me the link, and I will post on my Facebook page as well, so everybody can watch you, because I can't wait to see your show. I can't wait. I'm really
Yes,
excited
in fact.
for you.
Yes, and in fact, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have the actual trailer. So,
Yeah.
I think we could share it, as long as we don't get in trouble again.
Oh,
We don't because it hurts. It's coming out incredible.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
okay, thanks so much, guys. Good luck. Good night.
Right.
Good night. Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
Oh my God, I love the Syracusas. What a story he has. I've always believed in him. I've done a lot of shows with him, and we, like I said, we did that series of the Horsefly Chronicle episodes, case files. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the show. Oh God, I don't have my calendar. I can't remember what the next show is about. Oh God, March. Okay, so I know Bill Bean is coming back. He wants to talk about a possessed boy and the demonic haunting surrounding him and the exorcism of him. And I can't remember the fella's name. And so that's what Bill Bean wants to talk about. And Sean Austin is coming back. He's going to talk about the Amityville Horror House. He did an investigation. He's going to share evidence. And he did it with Ralph Sarchi. Remember Sean and Ralph Sarchi? Actually, Ralph Sarchi was the main character on this TV series that they had. It was about evil things or something, where they went in to do exorcisms on these houses, and Sean Austin was a part of that TV show. Well, now, as you know, Sean has his own TV show, Ghost Loop, on the Travel Channel. Everybody, so I hope you like the show. Thanks so much for joining us. We had our mod tonight was Cassandra 50. Honey, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. She was our mod tonight. Great job. Royce is very ill. He was in the hospital today, so please send your prayers and your positive energy to Royce, and also to Cassandra. She needs your prayers and your positive energy, as well as Crystal Triplet also. And Unique Annie, we missed her tonight as well. So everybody, thanks so much for joining me. So there's 2 shows in March, and my gosh. Anyways, I don't know the dates, but those are the guests lined up. And those should be really good shows as well. And again, I want to thank Julia and Phil Saracusa for being on the show tonight. It was, I love his story. And I know there's a lot more to it, but he, you just can't divulge everything. Some things you need to keep private. All right, so let me do some shout outs before I go. I don't know if Renee sent me the list. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Andrew and his Trucking Gnomes, Anita Ackerman, Cassandra 50, Charms Paranormal and Justice, Chippa Terry, Dust Bunny, I Am Alpha, Jennifer Blummer, Karen Lynn, River City Paranormal, Lori Miller, Robert Hanna, Sandra Miller, Sir Kevin H. Tammy Heinzman, Tigger Jan H. Hypnosis. I didn't see Tallcross tonight. I don't know where he is. And Mark Brichetti, Carl White, there you are. Carol White, it's probably like 5 o'clock in the morning. He's from the UK. Betty, thanks Betty. And Christian Neves. Tallcross is from Scotland, and I don't know what happened to him. He's usually here on every show. I miss you. Anybody else need a shout out? Did you guys like the show? If you have any suggestions for shows, send me an email at paranormalzonetv@gmail.com. I forgot to send out the shout outs on my website, but I don't think people are getting them. But you know, when I set up the events on my main page, you guys must know where my main page is on YouTube. All you have to do is hit the reminder, and it'll send you a reminder. Anybody else wanna? We had a nice crowd tonight. Thank you, Sandra Miller. Okay, so I'm gonna go, and again, thank you so much, and don't forget to say your prayers for Cassandra, for Royce, Crystal Triplet, and I haven't seen Unique Annie. I know she's really busy, but I'll welcome her back anytime. All right, guys, love you guys. Group hug to everybody, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks, okay? Love you guys. Thank you so much. Love you. Good night.